Hi folks, and today I thought I'd talk a little bit about track work because most people at some point in time in your training program are going to have track work. So this is a pretty high level overview of some things to be thinking about with the track. So here we go. The first thing, my rule is if you're on the track, GPS is a no-no. Do not bother to use GPS. I never look at my pace. I never look at my distance. When I'm on a track, I'm using everything that is on the track and I'm using time. So why am I doing that? Here's an example. This is my run today on the track. It's kind of maybe difficult to see in the picture, but you can see all those lines or all the different laps I made in the track, and you can see that there's times, if I can point correctly, over here where it looks like I'm cutting through the field. Turns in particular tend to throw GPS off. In my experience, GPS and tracks, because of all those turns, it's pretty inaccurate. If I've been running, say, 1,600 meters on the track, which is roughly a mile, and I have forgotten to turn the auto lap off, because I'll usually get rid of auto lap on a track, I find it's going off 50, 75 meters early. It's not unusual for the pace that Garmin says I ran to be a good 15 or 20 seconds different than what the actual pace was when you're on the track. So I don't use GPS. Other benefits of being on the track. So tracks are more precise. As I just said, when you use GPS, you really don't know exactly what the distance is. With the track, it's going to be pretty precise. Even tracks can be a little bit off, but you're talking maybe 1 or 2 meters over the course of a track. You always know your location on the track. You always know where you're at. So that's another benefit of being on the track. And it really helps you learn to feel the pace. When you're using time and the right distance, you know the pace. And I'm always hearing from people, gee, it's so hard to not take off too fast at the beginning of the race, or I don't know how to feel the pace. We become so reliant on GPS, which is actually pretty erratic. That's just really hurting with that. Now, if you're running everything by effort, of course, that doesn't matter. But most people, in my experience, are still using pace. But when you're using time, you learn how to feel. So an example of that. So today, I was supposed to do 800 meters in 3 minutes and 15 seconds. That means I know that at the 200 meter mark on the track, or half a lap, I should be roughly at 48 seconds. I know at 400 meters, one complete lap, I should be roughly at 1 minute and 37 seconds. So when I first take off, I'm going to glance at my watch and look at the time when I hit the 200 meter mark. If I'm a little bit faster than 48, got to gear that back just slightly. If it's a little bit slower, got to pick it up a little bit slightly. But you're paying attention to your breathing, your cadence, and your rhythm, and how that feels because you want to lock in the pace. Because the goal would be to run that 3:15 fairly steadily the entire 800 meters, not run, say, 1:45 the first half and 1:30 the second half. That's not what the objective is. So you always know where you are, and you can learn to feel that pace. Now, an outdoor track is normally 400 meters. An indoor track is normally 200 meters. I have seen some indoor tracks that have been a little bit different, but by and large, they're 200 meters. You can always check. It's important to note that those measurements are on the inside lane. So if you're at the track and you're running on lane 2, 3, 4, some other lane, it's not going to be 400 or 200. It's going to be farther. How much farther? I can't tell you that because how much farther it is depends upon the track. Sometimes the width of the lanes vary and how many lanes there are on the track varies. I've personally not run into a circumstance where I haven't been able to run on the inside lane, so I think for most people that's always going to be the case. If you really know your tracks, there are markings if you need to be in another lane that will help you with that, but by and large, try and be in that inside lane because that's going to be exact. Now, some of you are probably saying, you know, Mark, that's great. But either I can't get to the track for some reason, or I can get to a track, but I'm in the north in the winter and it's under snow. I can't use the track. What am I supposed to do then? Well, you're going to have to use GPS at that point in time, and GPS can be a great tool. And frankly, it is close enough for government work, so to speak. It's going to get you what you need. I just prefer the accuracy of the track for all the reasons I mentioned. So if you don't have that track, ideally you want something that is straight. It is every time you turn is typically what's going to throw GPS off a little bit. It can still be off when you're going straight, but it's a heck of a lot better when you're going straight. And ideally it's flat because you're trying to maintain that even effort. It's hard to get that even effort when you're going up and down on hills all the time. Again, I realize sometimes you can't get straight, sometimes you can't get flat, but ideally that's what you would do. So there's a little bit about track work. Again, going back to the track if you're there, get rid of the GPS.